Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the Champions League and Liverpool are preparing to take on Porto away from home. I'm here as I always am to try and predict Jurgen Klopp's starting 11 for this one. So let's get into it, and there's so much to talk about, isn't there? And I think partly because we played only on Saturday evening, partly because we've got Manchester City next weekend, and partly because it's a big game away from home in the Champions League. I'm going to start with the goalkeeper as I always do anyway, and that goalkeeper for tomorrow's game will be, I believe, Alisson Becker. I do think the Klopp is going to make some changes throughout the starting 11. I think he probably goes a little bit further down there. I'm going to start with one change and say Kostas Tsimikas comes in at left back for Andrew Robertson. One of the reasons why is I actually don't think there's that much of a drop-off anymore between Robbo and Kostas. So I think it's a fairly safe change to make. So I'm going to go a big change next, and I'll put both centre-halves on as well. And I will put the right back on, which I believe is going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm going to put these down for a second because I do want to talk about why I came to the conclusion that I think it's going to be Joe Gomez and Joel Matip. For me, I'm looking at it going, look, I know Klopp takes it one game at a time, and I know it probably doesn't factor into his thinking, or he won't let on that Man City is factoring into his thinking for this game. But and I get that Virgil van Dijk is going to have to at some point play 3 games back to back to back. That, for me, isn't right now. Not when we don't know just how he's feeling and all that type of stuff at the moment. I think we've seen sort of signs that he is absolutely getting back to his best. I think, we saw, I think it was Ivan Toney that he sort of charged down, started 5 yards behind, gets in front of, makes a brilliant sort of recovery tackle. So we've started to see his pace. We know he can still head the ball, and we know his covering is as good as everything or anything that we've seen from him in the past. But why I think Joe Gomez comes in is because of Joel Matip, and let me explain this a little bit. Joel Matip right now is Liverpool's number 2 centre-half. He is playing at an absolutely elite level. This guy's got the ability to do that as well, Joe Gomez has. So I don't think the drop-off, let's say you play Virgil van Dijk, let's say Matip it's a bit of a struggle for him this weekend, City, or he picks up a knock. I think Joe Gomez just slots in like he used to, right alongside Virgil van Dijk. I'm wrapping Virgil in cotton wool because he's so integral, so important, and such a good player that any type of loss of Virgil van Dijk does decrease the sort of excellence of our side, for want of a better word. So I'm sticking Joe Gomez in there. I'm going Joel Matip. Then with a 5-day break, I believe that Joel Matip will be ready, barring injury, for the game against City. Joe Gomez, another few minutes under his belt, still a good centre-back partnership. 2 lads that we know can play at an absolute top level. Trent Alexander-Arnold's a different case altogether. I think with a change there and a change there, you're probably keeping Trent there, and he's a young lad. Obviously had a week off the other week anyway. And to be fair, Southgate's probably not going to play him in every one of the games in the international break. So he goes back to back to back in all 3 of these games. If you get an opportunity with 5 subs in the Champions League, maybe you do look to bring him off, maybe bring a Jamie Milner in or a Nico Williams if he's going to be on the bench or whatever. In the 6, I think it's Fabinho. I think ahead of him, I'm going to throw Naby Keita in there now, and I'm going to throw him in with Jordan Henderson. And I'm unsure about the midfield, if I'm perfectly honest, because I do think that changes do need to be made. I think Kurt having sort of a full game and then maybe 60-odd minutes might lead you to believe that Kurt's going to play again, but can he then play again against Manchester City? Naby Keita I'd like to see get minutes prior to the City game anyway, whether that be off the bench for tomorrow's game or whether he starts. I'd have him in there from the start and look to maybe take one of these lads out, like a Jordan Henderson with 60 if the results go in your way. Make use of your bench. And when I say if the results go in your way, maybe it's just 60 regardless of what's going on in the game. You take him off and protect him for that game. But the 5-day break to City means that lads should be able to go again. On the left-hand side, I'm going to go Diogo Jota this time around. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go Sadio Mane. And I am going to go Roberto Firmino starting the 9. Now, I think I'm right in saying Mo Salah has played all 540 minutes in the Premier League so far. I think Sadio Mane and Diogo Jota are there or thereabouts, but not quite as many, maybe 100-odd minutes behind. I think Firmino's had about 100 minutes in the Prem so far. I think you rest Mo for this one so that he is absolutely on fire for the City game. And here's the thing, I think with a front 3 like that, you're looking at that going, that's a good front three. He can get in goal. He can get goals coming in from that left-hand side. We know Sadio Mane can play that right-hand side. You're giving Roberto Firmino some minutes ahead of Manchester City, should he be needed. Again, obviously got some minutes the other day as well. I think him having a few minutes the other day means that he's probably in line for a start, maybe 60, 70 minutes in this one. I look back at the AC Milan side and I think Divock Origi, would you play him away from home in the Champions League? Yes, you could. Will he? Not sure. Squad-wise, we've got 12 subs in the Champions League, don't we? So I think you're going Kelleher and Adrian as the two goalkeepers, obviously. I think Robertson, I'll use him to pin Adrian straight. Robertson, Virgil van Dijk's obviously going to be on the bench. Kanate is going to be on the bench. And I'm going to go with Nico Williams here, if he is fit. Got James Milner, got Kurt Jones, got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who some people might be wondering why he's not in the starting 11, Minamino, Divock Origi, and then finally Mo Salah. I think Klopp said in his press conference, the two lads that aren't going to be involved are going to be Thiago and Harvey Elliott, of course, long-term injury there. So the one lad that he was saying might have to miss out, I believe, is Nat Phillips. The reason I don't think that Nat Phillips will be part of the squad is because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and that makes 5 centre-backs on there, which you just don't need. I'm not sure where Nico is up to be honest with you. But if he's fit and available, then he's probably in the squad for this one. So let's have a look at what you people think I've done wrong, and there will be many things that I've done wrong. I can just see there shouting into the comments with someone saying Milner in midfield. Tudor Manole says Milner in midfield. Nicholas Haker says, I think Milner plays in this one, just not sure where. And Tudor Manole says, this is the midfield for the City game. Really? Yeah, that's a good point. Jurgen does tend to go quite strong, doesn't he? But where's he playing? Because let's say we put James Milner in midfield. Is it as simple as in the 8 for maybe someone like a Jordan Henderson, who I actually agree with probably would be rested if I had my way, but this is what I'm trying to predict Jurgen doing. So I'm saying there, I'm going 1 change, 2 change, 3 change, 4 changes. I can't. 5's probably where I think we're at. 4 or 5 changes from the weekend game is probably where I'm at, where I think Jurgen will go to. So I've gone with 4. But no, that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, Tudor. I could see James Milner starting in midfield in this one. It might just be that with 5 days for the City game, you are seeing the City team almost. Robbie Brown, Chris, if Minamino can't slot in versus Porto, I worry for his game time this season. I do as well, to be honest with you. You know, but he's got to prove it, as Jurgen said in his press conference. It's not just about proving it on the pitch, is it? It's about proving it each and every day in training. Funnily enough, me and Paul watched the press conference together before, and one of the things that I sort of took out of it was that, like, he said, and if he's telling the truth, Jurgen basically said, it's about what you do in training as well as on the football field, which says to me, and it's something Paul and I were talking about, and he mentioned first, is that the lads who play every week, we think it's because they're the best players, but what he's sort of alluding to there is that they're the best trainers as well. And he doesn't think about games in hand and games that are in the future. He thinks about that game and how they're performing in those training sessions for that game. Do they understand, for example, what's being asked of them for the Porto game in a training session? Well, it's obvious, isn't it, that the most experienced players, especially if you try and do something slightly different, are going to be the most adept at changing and training a certain way. So it's quite interesting. Donuts just says Minamino, Firmino and Jota. Minamino, Firmino and Jota. So let's have a look at that one. What do we think of that? With the right-hand side there, so I nearly knocked the ginormous television over. Minamino on the right-hand side then, Firmino there, Jota probably from that left-hand side. I couldn't imagine it any other way, I don't think. I mean, you could play Firmino on the left, but Jota's pace is probably a little bit better, plus he's so dangerous cutting in from that side. Yeah, again, something like, you know, but this is a big game, and Jurgen said it again in his press conference, didn't he, about how, you know, the results in the past don't matter against Porto. This is a side that are looking for retribution for those results, the ones where we've scored 9 goals in the last 2 games in that stadium. So they're going to be going out there. He's not going to, I don't think he's going to put a fully rotated side out. I think 4 or 5 changes I mentioned before. But I don't think that Minamino will be one of those changes, to be honest. Might as well put Divock in there and rest the main from 4. So Protege, do something like that anyway. So let's have a look then. Let's say you say, yeah, I mean, again, I'm not so concerned about the gap to the weekend's game against City. My concern is, how are they feeling today? Can they go against Porto? And that's it, isn't it? Because you go Saturday night, so you got Sunday, Monday, a rest days. You got training session today where we know Naby Keita took part in. And there's probably not going to be a training session tonight. You know, they have to offer, don't they, the Champions League sides that you can train on their ground or somewhere else. But as Jürgen said, they're all Portuguese, so he wants to do it in private, which says there might be a few surprises for Porto. He doesn't want to give them any inkling of the side that is going to start against them. Ox instead of Keita and Milner instead of Henderson, says Alfie Mitchell. Ox instead of Keita and Milner instead of Jordan Henderson. That's actually a midfield that I quite like the balance of, to be honest. I'm assuming you mean Milner on the left-hand side there anyway. Oh, magnet issues here big time. It's got nice balance, hasn't it? Milner knows how to slot in and cover for Kostas Tsimikas if you need. Ox equally very adept at getting around that right-hand side if necessary. I do probably think that with Ox playing on this right-hand side, you'd probably want someone who's going to cut inside like Salah, so that Ox can make his way around him. But I'm sure the big boys, aren't they? They can work that out. Manny likes to cut inside regardless of whether he's going to use his right boot or his left boot. And so that's quite an interesting shout there. Nice one. Let's go somewhere else then next. What else have we got? Adam Parry says, Klopp, just go fuck it. Go the front four, Fab and Endo, double pivot, and go 4 up. Then ring the subs. That's the interesting thing, isn't it? It's a good point actually, Adam, is that because of the 5 subs in this one, you're probably looking at maybe half-time changes regardless. You know, maybe there's just one lad that comes in. Now these lads that I've mentioned getting minutes for example, Bobby Firmino, Naby Keita ahead of the City game, maybe it is a case of, well, you just start, whatever, Jota there, Mane there, Salah there, 45 minutes comes around, bang, you're starting, you're jumping on, Divock, you're jumping on, still got 3 substitutes, fresh in the midfield up maybe, Naby Keita, Kurt Jones, something like that as well. We keep playing 4-2-4. We keep playing 4-2-4. What about a team like that, says Nicholas Haycraft. I'm not a big fan of the 4-2-4, and the reason why is that, you know, Klopp's a big fan of the 4-3-3, and therefore I'm a big fan of the 4-3-3. Nuntrung Shaq, Ox, Origi, one versus Barcelona. Why not Taki, Firmino, Ox? Taki, Firmino, Ox versus Porto. Taki, Firmino, and Ox. Taki, Firmino, and Ox. Right, let's play him from that side, and let's play him from that side there. So we've got that cut inside from Ox. Look, again, you know, these are all options to us, aren't they? I just think that's what we're looking at there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 changes. I think it's quite a lot, isn't it? I can't imagine that we would make 6 changes for this game. If the City game was 3 days after, maybe. But because it's not, I don't think 6 changes is where we're going. It's a nice shout. It's a nice shout. Okay, one more comment then. Let's have a look, see what anyone else wants us to discuss. Ayman Guy says, I'd say Millie plays away to Porto, need that experience and know-how in the middle. It's a good point, isn't it? And yeah, you could probably see James Milner starting this one. I don't know where he was after that illness that he picked up, but again, his experience is going to be necessary at some point, and maybe this is the game for that. So there you go. That is my Start 11 predictions show. I don't think I've got it right at all, if I'm being frank. But it's a bloody difficult one. Leave me yours in the comment section below, please. Let us know who your starting 11 is, why you've decided to pick that starting 11. I mean, interesting that no one's really talked about Virgil van Dijk not being here, so maybe people agree with me on that. If you disagree, though, let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, me and Paul will be doing the watch along tomorrow night. Oh, we've had a super chat in from Harry Lewis. Divock to start. Okay, there you go. He's got some early team news from Harry Lewis. Thank you so much for the super chat. Again, I wouldn't be displeased with Divock starting, not at all. He's deserved it. He's put in some good performances recently for us. But you'll find out for definite what Liverpool's starting 11 is on the team news show, 1 hour and 15 minutes, I think, before kick-off. Got a man in the ground there, of course, with Sai, who's going away. He's just left about half an hour ago to go to this one. So hopefully he enjoys himself as much as he has the last 2 times we've been to Porto. Team news, an hour and a quarter, I think, before the game tomorrow. And of course, me and Paul will be here for the watch along and all the post-match content as we always are. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Like the video, subscribe to Redmen TV on YouTube. I'll see you tomorrow. Ta-ra.
Thanks so much for checking out the show this week. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, then do. But if you want more from us, extra Redmen shows, then go to the redmentv.com. You can support the channel at 2 levels, by Club Captain or Club Legend tier. Both get you a full suite of Liverpool-related content, extra Redmen shows, documentaries, features, and world-exclusive interviews. And Club Legends get their names here and on the end of those videos, and free merchandise as well. Perfect time to sign up on the redmentv.com.